My life, my home, my choice. It's about really caring what people want and offering them the support that is really needed for them to live as fulfilling lives as possible. People often know what it is that they want, but they often don't know how to go about getting that. And My Life, My Home, My Choice is a way of facilitating this, where the ideas come from the person themselves and they're able to take some control over what's happening to them.
We set up a 2-year project called My Life, My Home, My Choice in order to implement personal health budgets and alternatives to residential and nursing care homes. Key element of personal health budgets is the different relationship between people who receive services and those who provide them. The services should be delivered on a much more equal footing, and co-production is a key element of this.
So NHS Southwark, CCG and Southwark Council have come together to develop a joint project around all our accommodation support services for people with mental health problems in Southwark. So as part of that project, one thing that we're really keen is that we offer as many people as possible the opportunity to access a personal budget, which will allow them to gain access to a wider range of support services in the community that will help maximise their independence and help them regain control of their lives and live independently in the community.
We set up a steering group which involved a whole range of people, including housing workers, health and social care representatives, carers and people who use services themselves. It was essential to put people who use services at the heart of the implementation. In order to do this, we had to find out the views of people in residential and nursing care homes and involve them in the process. This was no easy thing to do, given that many people were very institutionalised, had been in the homes for years and years, and were spread in places across London and the South East. Engaging people in the process caused practical and geographical problems. This is why we involved experts by experience to help us gain people's views about where they were living and the support they would need if they were to move to be more independently with personal health budgets.
For Phase 1, nursing care and high support housing, and Phase 2, low to medium support housing, Jane Williamson from Southwark Council and myself held meetings for staff and residents to introduce the project. Then experts by experience interviewed 88 residents at 17 locations to get their views. We noticed that although initially many residents were reluctant to move on, they became more interested in the possibility as the interviews progressed. We think this was because we shared with them some stories about people who had received personal budgets and how they had been able to use them.
There was an exceptionally high participation rate by residents, 88% for Phase 1 and 84% for Phase 2. This was due to the methodology we used. There was a wide range of responses to the 11 questions asked. A majority of residents liked living in their current housing in both Phases 1 and Phase 2. Fewer residents disliked their current housing in Phase 2 compared to Phase 1. When asked if they would move on to more independent living with appropriate support, twice as many would move on as wanted to stay in their current housing in Phase 1. Many more residents were ready to move on in Phase 2. Residents warmed to the idea of moving on during the course of interviews. Some residents, though, definitely did not want to move on. There were a number of fears about moving on in both Phases 1 and 2, covering practical and financial issues, loneliness, safety of self and others, neighbours and the local area. Good things included independence, more responsibility, a better social life and a better environment. Lots of dreams and aspirations for a better life were mentioned by residents, in general, covering more freedom, control, privacy and independence. Residents considered where they would live, what they would do with their time and what they would have.
Many people have raised issues with Experts by Experience that they had not raised before with care coordinators or home staff. The budgets have varied in cost between £30 a week to over £1,000. They've been used in a variety of ways, including paying for peer mentors, support workers, gym membership, educational classes, and for one person an iPad to enable him to communicate. They've certainly made a difference to people's lives and helped them to move or avoid institutionalised care to live more independently in the community.
So I'm John, I'm the project coordinator for the Athena project. We work supporting people who've got personal budgets, and I match them up with one of our mentors. I introduce the two of them, then I step back and the mentor will go and support the person every week on a regular basis. And they'll help them do things like move out of supported housing and get themselves set up living independently in the community. Or they'll be working with someone who's maybe got a problem with hoarding, and they'll help them work through all the stuff in their house. And it's really exciting because I'm really enjoying how the excitement of seeing a client who gets to choose their own mentor from the list on the website. They get to choose the person who they'd like to support them. And it's a real buzz when I can actually see that client meet that mentor for the first time and see the project work. So we've only just got started. It's a brand new project. We're hoping that if we can get it up and get it running, get the funding from the personal budgets, we can spread this thing out across the borough, and who knows, maybe into neighbouring boroughs too. So I've brought here today Carlita, who's one of our mentors. She's going to tell you a little bit about the work that she does as a mentor. Take it away, Carlita. Yep.
Hi, I'm Carlita, and yes, as John said, I'm one of the peer mentors. I've been working for Athena for about 8-9 months now, and meeting the client for the first time it's very exciting, and it's very exciting as well as the unknown, isn't it? So it's really nice in terms of that you kind of build a relationship with the client, and you kind of benefit the community in terms of getting that client involved back into things that they might have had interest before, but through medication or whatever has kind of lost that interest. So you kind of motivate them and build them again to kind of feel that the belonging. I think it's all about belonging.
And if I can just say, sorry, Carlita, the really key thing about this project is that everyone who works for us has got their own lived experience of mental health difficulties.
Definitely. Oh, that's also another point, John, actually. Thank you. In terms of, your own kind of lived experiences. The only thing as well is that you can sort of as well show the client that through your own lived experiences, they can also go on themselves to do the Athena project, hopefully, and also mentors others themselves. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be very challenging. I'm not going to be all the time. Can be very challenging, but the good thing is that we have regular supervision, and the supervision allows you to not only talk about things but discuss things, look at things, try and work around things, as well as our once a month peer mentors group meetings, which again we can kind of reflect and discuss each other's roles and how we feel about it and stuff like that. So it's very rewarding.
Southwark Council with the Southwark CCG wanted to be a demonstrator site with regards to personal health budgets. Why did we want to be a demonstrator site? Well, Southwark Council was very aware of the positive sides of personal budgets. It enabled people to have better choice, more independence, and more control of how they used the money to support the things that they required. We knew that people currently in residential settings, there was limited support for them to be in the community because of their health needs were very high. Therefore, we worked very closely with the CCG to incorporate both personal budgets and personal health budgets. We wanted there to be one assessment, one care plan, and one overall budget, which included personal budgets and personal health budgets. Why did we want to do this? Again, this was about people being given the choice. It enabled them to have more hope with regards to how they could move forward in their lives, and it also gave them the control over how they would use their money from the council and the CCG. We were aware of the very good outcomes that were being achieved by personal budgets, and we wanted those similar good outcomes to be achieved by personal budgets and personal health budgets.